Hi, and welcome to the Thousand Tales podcast. I'm your host, Connor Logan, and I'm happy to bring you another episode of the Newbury Park branch of the Ventura County Poetry Project, hosted by the Thousand Oaks Library System. I happen to be a co-host for the Newbury Park branch and the Thousand Oaks branch, along with Ron Fullerton, and this episode is really great. Jennifer Kelley is our featured reader, and she gives some wonderful, wonderful readings. And then followed by that are a bunch of open mic readings from some of the great poets of Ventura County, including one that joined us from Japan. Great readings, and I'm very excited to bring it to you. So put your headphones on, go for a walk, get some stuff down around your house. You got about an hour and 15 minutes here of some great readings. I hope you enjoy it. All the best to you and yours, and enjoy the poetry. Neighborhood and things like that, but I also do recordings and put up things here from the kind writers, other poetry readings, things like that. So it's kind of a good place to find some things that are going on in Thousand Oaks. But I do ask, because it's difficult to go back and scrub out audio, please let me know before you speak your piece tonight if you would like to not be recorded. And I'll just go ahead and pause that recording and just kind of edit that on the fly, and that makes it much, much, much easier for me. So without further ado, unless anybody has anything else that they would like to announce, please raise your hand. I can see you all visually. Bonnie, please.
Yeah, I just want to vouch for what Connor said. I just got such a kick out of reading to, quote, ordinary people. I mean, it was really quite a trip because mostly we read to each other. And if you find that your work can touch others that are not necessarily, into the whole poetry scene, it's really very rewarding. I really got quite a thrill out of it. So.
Oh, that's great to hear. I honestly, last Friday at my last jam, someone came up and said, "When are we going to hear more poets?" And I said, I'm working on it. So I've gone up and done a couple of pieces here and there, but I think people get a little tired of hearing from me all the time. So I really encourage you. We really have a really interesting little thing going on here. It's every Friday, and so get involved.
Every
if you like. Phil, I saw your hand up.
Ojai is taking this month off. They're not going to ever reading in Ojai this month. They're hoping to be back in the library next month, but this month they're dark.
Gotcha.
Just to let you know.
I wanted to announce one more thing. This is just an idea off the cuff. If it jazzes anybody, I really want to hear from you about it. Through doing this COVID Smile Jam thing the last year, it started with just me announcing it to next door, and one guy came over and played. Now I've got a stable of like 25 different musicians who are vying for spots. A couple of guys heard Bonnie do poetry, and they came up to me afterwards and they said, "Hey, if you ever want to do a live thing, we'd love to do like the background music for it, kind of like a beat poet style." So if anybody has an idea and they want to put together kind of a thing to do live, because we're starting to get back into where it's a little safer to do things, but I will say, as a live musician myself, most places are only looking for stuff that's like 2-3 people max. So if you had a piano player, someone doing hand percussion, and someone reading poetry, or a circuit of poets kind of going in and out of the microphone while some people are doing background music, it could be a very engaging thing. Just an idea that I've been kind of toying around with. But if anybody's interested, again, ConnorLogan@gmail.com. CONORLOGAN, 10 letters, @gmail.com. And I'd love to speak with you about it. And maybe we can come up with something that we can take around to different places. Another vehicle to try to, evangelize, doing live poetry and getting people jazzed about hearing poetry or writing poetry. And also, I just want to encourage everyone that as we now move into passing this over to Jennifer and listening to some great poetry, please mute yourselves. So just look for that button on the screen where you can click the mute button, and you should see a little red icon show up next to your picture or your icon on the screen that denotes that you are now muted. So, and if anybody else has anything, raise your hands so I can see it. Otherwise, I would... Oh, Dennis, how are you?
My volume's a little low. Can you tell me your email once again, please?
CONOR. Connor, like a classic Celtic first name. Logan, LOGAN, @gmail.com. And I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
At what mail?
Gmail.
Gmail. Got
So
it.
that's
Thank
in
you.
the chat room right now. And then I'm putting where you can get this live recording afterwards. I'm really, really quick about this stuff. I'll probably have the live recording up later tonight or sometime tomorrow. Feel free to share it with your friends. Say, hey, this is cool. This is poetry. This is a live thing, and we're all baring our souls for each other. Listen, and it ends up being a really engaging thing. I've sent these to some people, and they listen to it when they go on a walk around their neighborhood, or they're doing housework or something like that, and they have a good time with it. So, without further ado, and unless anybody else raises their hand, I'm really excited to pass this over to Jennifer. Please take it away.
Hi guys, I'm so excited. First, I want to thank everybody who came out. My mom and Kim and Judy and Chuck, and just it's great to see you all here. You people who usually come, and all the poets who came to hear me. I love you guys. Okay, well, here's the reading. Starting with a poem called Invocation. Let me sit up straight. I will make rain because you love me. I will plant my words in the soil and grow. I will set down roots, ever seeking moisture, and bud into life. A leaf, a cosmic smile that can never go hungry. These next two poems kind of go together. They share a title, and they're kind of a before or a during and after, you might say. When I think of water. When I think of water, I think of rain. I think of cleansing and forgiveness. I think of tears. I think of the creases around your eyes as you told me for the last time that you loved me. And I know there's more to water than that. When I think of water, I think of hopping from stone to stone as I made my way wobblingly across a creek, with my father's coaxing and outstretched hand buoying me to him, in the hope that I could hold that hand, in the hope that I could be close to him, be enveloped by his acceptance. When I think of water, I think of long Sonoma winters weighed down with moisture, damp months where I, the water child, got saturated to overflowing, and of your sourpuss face as you cursed existence and grumbled to yourself. How you made me smile, made me forget the damp, the perpetual chill, and rest instead in the warmth of your eyes when you laugh. Water makes me think of you laughing. When I think of water, I think of that half-frozen waterfall where I first walked with love, how it looked more like a photograph, stilled in time that day, than anything real. The way you took my hand and nodded with wide eyes and a smile, saying without words, "Isn't that something?" And it was. When I think of water, I think of you dressed in kittens, of you, my dear, dear friend, and how what spans the space between us is something incredibly simple and undoubtedly complex. And how sometimes it feels so liquid, I think we can go back in time to that smile, to your hand in mine. Sometimes it seems like the only answer. Then I breathe, take a sip, and step forward. Thanks, guys. And this is kind of the after poem. It's called When I Think of Water, Part 2. I was expecting water, but you poured me a glass of blood, then sat there while I drank it, as though to make sure I had finished my vegetables. I was expecting water, but you delivered me a cup of shame. You told me that I was special in that way that means lesser than. You offered up a pint of pain until my skin was out and had left me raw. You infused it into my veins. I was expecting water, but it rained locusts that day, enough to sizzle up and serve delicious. But I've gone hungry since you've gone away. Thanks. Okay, so for this first poem, or this next poem, there's an idea I need to explain. It's a word called kitsune, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and Chuck can correct me. But it's a Japanese idea of these shapeshifters who are half fox, half person, and it comes up in this poem. Fluffy brother fox. I sold my soul to a fennec fox. He spoke to me with a twee plea. I scratched him behind the ear, murmuring promises of sweet meats and satisfaction. In response, he purred, pined, and played dead, exposing his oversoft belly of pure white. I sank my nails in deep and pulled him wide before he had a chance to snap. I ate his heart. It cleared my mind. And it was only then, when the kitsune transformed, that I realized he was my twin. And bloody-lipped, I cried and cried, but I didn't stop eating his flesh. I needed to be more powerful than a woman, more sane. So I left my heart by those tree-born shores. I walked away, clear-headed, empty, but alive. Thanks, guys. Under the maple tree. Screen doors slam on porches in the marmalade summer of Fresno, where I hide from the maple leaves and try to sew my grandmother up into baby blankets. I think of you then, arch-backed and mantis-lipped. I think of you and I want to shrink and grow at the same time. I think of you and I want to punch you in the eye for the crevice between my thighs that you discovered for the first time. And I couldn't be a noose, not with Jesus watching. I thought you were a saint, a real mantis religiosa, not one to lose yourself in raptorial rapture, commit the thrust, then leave me headless and gaping. I howl beneath the burial chamber of old maple leaves, now mulching, and wonder how anyone makes it through days like this without a noose. So, okay, so this is probably the most disturbing poem in this reading. I think it's at least a close second, so I apologize if anybody's creeped out. But this is about bipolar depression. I am the blackness. I am the blackness. I want you maimed, not dead, not just yet, or believe me, you would be. I am the blackness. Oh, how I churn inside you, hating that slim shake of a moment when I can slither into your ear and hiss. You know what I say? Just your darkest fears. Or sometimes I'm silent and simply hang on you like a lead robe, every inch of every muscle yielding to me. to my unwavering belief.